Even though it has been several months since the Oscars drama between Will Smith and Chris Rock, it appears as though nobody has gotten over it because tensions are still running high on both ends. But things are about to get worse because Chris is tired of watching Jada try to spin the narrative about what has happened since then. So did Jada really make Will slap Chris? Why does Chris think Will's public apology is BS? And has he really vowed to never forgive Will and Jada for humiliating him? The Oscars drama between Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Chris Rock is definitely one of the most talked about dramas of the celebrity world. It all went down at the 2022 Oscars when Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's alopecia, calling her G.I. Jane.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it, all right?
For those who don't know, G.I. Jane refers to Demi Moore's character in the 1997 movie, and Demi's character was bald. So Chris Rock was comparing Jada to the character because Jada is bald. Now, when he made the joke, Will found it funny and even laughed about it. But Jada didn't find it funny, and her facial expression made that clear. So Will saw Jada's face and realized how upset she was at the joke, and rather than take the joke, he went on stage and slapped Chris Rock.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
Like that wasn't bad enough, he also yelled at Chris to keep Jada's name out of his mouth.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
After the Oscars, footage was released that showed Jada laughing after Will slapped Chris.
Here is an angle most people have not seen. Look at Jada's reaction.
Of course, there was a lot of fallout after the event, starting with Will getting banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years. It's unclear whether or not this means that he also can't get nominated or win another Oscar. But what is clear is that even if he wins, he certainly won't be receiving his award in person. Now, after the Oscar, Will posted an apologetic statement on Instagram, saying, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally." He also apologized to Chris Rock, saying, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." He also posted a video on YouTube where he denied that the slap had anything to do with Jada, and he claimed that he made that choice on his own.
It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it.
While this drama was going on, Jada didn't say a word about it, and all she did was make a post on Instagram saying, "This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it." But then people suggested that the major reason that Jada got upset with Chris is that he has a history of making jokes at her expense. For example, in 2016, Will and Jada decided to boycott the Oscars as a form of protest over the Academy's lack of inclusivity, especially toward Black people. But Chris decided to make fun of Jada instead.
You know, it's quite like Jada got mad. Jada says she's not coming, protesting. I'm like, is she on a TV show? Jada's gonna boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties.
So while there was no bad blood between Chris Rock and the Smiths, there were definitely some strains in their friendship. And safe to say that the strains got even deeper after Chris got slapped in the face in front of the whole world. And how did he deal with that? Well, by making jokes about it, of course, which surprises nobody because, after all, he is a comedian. The first time he made a joke about it was when he was at a show by comedian Dave Chappelle, and someone rushed on stage to attack Dave. The situation was quickly resolved by security, but Chris couldn't stop himself from taking a jab at Will Smith.
Was that Will Smith?
Then, while performing at the O2 Arena in London, Chris reacted to Will's apology video and suggested that Jada made him do it. According to reports, Chris said, "F your hostage video." He also admitted that the slap hurt, saying, "Yes, that slap hurt. He played Ali. I can't even play Floyd Mayweather." Then, when he was performing in Liverpool with Dave Chappelle, the topic of the Oscars slap came up again when Dave asked him if a slap hurt, and Chris replied with, "Got him right. He hit me over a BS joke. The nicest joke I ever told." Dave Chappelle then took a shot at Will, saying, "Will did the impression of a perfect perfect person for 30 years, and he ripped his mask off and showed us he was as ugly as the rest of us. Whatever the consequences are, I hope he doesn't put his mask back on again and lets his real face breathe. Throughout all this, Jada got a lot of backlash, maybe even more backlash than Will himself. She was accused of manipulating Will, causing him to regret one of the biggest nights of his career. For those who don't know, Will finally won an Oscar the night he slapped Chris, and it was a bittersweet moment because he had been chasing an Oscar for more than 20 years. Jada was dragged for stealing Will's victory from him, and generally just for being a bad wife to Will. People started digging out old videos that showed just how badly Jada has been treating Will, and the consensus is that she is manipulative and will probably end up ruining Will's life. For example, in this video, Jada disrespects Will and insults him when he sets a boundary and says that he doesn't want to be recorded.
Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Astaire, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just...
And let's not forget that Will spent 3 years and thousands of dollars planning the perfect 40th birthday party for Jada, and in return, she called him an egomaniac.
Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego.
Then there's the time she told the whole world that Will doesn't satisfy her in the bedroom.
Right. What you need, tell me what you want, and on top of it, I know that I have to be accountable to do the same.
And do you?
I really try.
Yeah.
Jada has been dragged for being manipulative and for using Will to get media attention. Somebody commented, Will Smith is a broken man who is truly alone. He was laughing, having a great time, until this bulldog of a wife gave him the look. I've never seen a more toxic, irresponsible, manipulative person before. Jada has emasculated Will so much he's a broken man and overcompensating. And somebody else tweeted, it doesn't matter if Jada Pinkett Smith was white or black. She's an evil and manipulative woman. She's a horrible person that will eventually get her karma. Can't wait. Even worse, while Will was getting dragged for slapping Chris, Jada offered zero support to him. She said nothing publicly, and a few days later, an inside source spoke to Us Weekly and revealed that while Jada is not angry with Will for slapping Chris, she wished that he didn't get physical. The source said, she's not one of these women that needs protecting. He didn't need to do what he did. She didn't need protecting. She's not a wallflower, the source shared. She's a strong woman, an opinionated woman, and she can fight her own battles. But she will stand by him. Jada was again dragged for this, with people calling her out for being unsupportive of her husband. But then a few weeks after, when people had stopped talking about it, she randomly decided to bring it up and address it for the first time. For those who somehow don't know this, Jada has a Facebook show called The Red Table Talk, which she runs with her daughter, Willow Smith, and her mom, Adrienne Banfield Norris, where they talk about a lot of different topics, and she often talks about her family on the show, like the episode where she admitted to having an entanglement with August Alsina. Well, Jada went on the show, and she addressed the Oscars drama for the first time, but she only ended up getting more backlash because people didn't like what she had to say.
Now about Oscar night, my deepest hope is that these two intelligent, capable men have an opportunity to heal, talk this out, and reconcile. The state of the world today, we need them both. And we all actually need one another more than ever.
People didn't like what Jada said because it sounded like she was just asking Will to get over it, even though he is the one who had to face all the consequences. She wasn't banned from the Oscars, and she wasn't dropped from projects like he did. People felt like she should have just kept her mouth shut because she made everything worse and made Will look bad. Someone said, one day we are going to talk about how Jada Pinkett Smith is toxic and was the reason what happened. Not today, but someday. Will is down bad. And this other person tweeted, I don't care what anybody has to say to me. I think Jada Smith is toxic, manipulative, and Will Smith is not the problem. Jada is, and she definitely has a hold on him. Before you even try to make this about women or race, just take a seat because that ain't it. Well, it looks like the people are not the only ones who hated Jada's comment about the slap, because according to reports, Chris Rock is not here for it either. According to an inside source, Chris finds it ridiculous that it took several weeks for Jada to talk about the situation. The source added that Chris did not buy Jada's fake regrets at all, and that he believes that the only reason that she talked about it was to get some attention for her show. Another source revealed that Chris believes that the only reason Jada brought it up was so that she could keep manipulating the media and the public. According to the source, Jada hates the way she is constantly being portrayed as a villain in the media, and so she is trying to wash her image to get people to like her again. The source claimed that Chris sees through her BS tactics of trying to manipulate the media and that he wants no part of it. Chris sounds like he is done with that family, and honestly, who could blame him? Anyways, if you loved watching this video, then check out this other one because there's more where that came from.